go, and we're good. All right, guys, my next guest today, I am so excited to share with you. I met Sharon back maybe a few months ago. We were doing a speaking engagement in Tennessee, and it was just an amazing opportunity to be able to learn from her. And if you guys don't know who Sharon Lechter is, then you need to. Actually, you probably already know who she is. You just don't realize you know who she is. She actually wrote the Bible for all of us real estate investors. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. She was actually the co-author of that book. Just not many people know it. She also got all the rights for the Napoleon Hill Foundation. So she's rewritten The Think and Grow Rich for women. She has also written Outwitting the Devil. And now she is on her next book, Exit Rich. But Sharon, I believe you've written about 26 books already?
Yep. 26 is Exit Rich will be number 26. Yep. It's crazy.
Wow. So you are just a whole wealth of knowledge here. And you were also in the Think and Grow Rich movie, which is The Legacy, that we watched just a few weeks ago. And that was an amazing movie. If you haven't seen it, please tune in and watch that. You can get that, just do a little Google search and you can find that. It's the Think and Grow Rich movie. So Sharon, yeah, we met. I'm super excited because when I heard you speak, obviously thinking Rich Dad Poor Dad, I've read multiple times, and also Think and Grow Rich. And these are books that are really just like they're just in your soul, right? When you read them, and it's something that it sticks with you for the rest of your life. And so hearing you speak, I felt the synergy. We're on the same page. We believe the same things. And I'm like, how can we work together? And so today we're going to be speaking to real estate agents, as you know. And these real estate agents, a lot of them are stuck. They're stuck on that hamster wheel of having to trade time for dollars and having to go sell a house to get paid to pay the mortgage. Or, some of them are flipping, some of them are investors and they're flipping a house, but they're getting paid once. And so what I really want to focus on today is teaching them about assets and the difference between assets and liabilities, and who better to teach than you. So thank you for coming on today.
Absolutely. I'm delighted to be with you, Amanda. And I think it's so important because real estate agents are beautifully positioned to secure, buy, and build assets because they have the ability to find them before they're on the market, those kinds of things. So the issue is we either sell or we create a relationship with an asset. And so that asset, when you're just buying and selling, it's one and done. As you said, you're exchanging time for money. There are reasons to do fix and flips because it can help generate some cash that you can then reinvest. The question is, are you reinvesting it or are you spending it? So you have to understand what the strategies are for each type of real estate investment. But at the end of the day, the richest people in the world, no matter where they live, no matter what language they speak, have one thing in common. They own income producing assets. And those assets become economic engines. And that's when you become financially free. The definition of financial freedom is when the income from your assets exceed your monthly expenses. And it doesn't have to be millions of dollars. And that's the thing I want people to understand is you've got the tools, you've got the knowledge, just take the right actions to start building assets into your portfolio.
So speaking of that, what are some of the actions that agents can take? Because these are a lot of really busy real estate agents, and they say, I don't have time to do that. So what are some easy actions that they can start out with?
Well, one of the things is understand if you have a residential rental property, yes, it takes some time up front to run the numbers. But once you have it and you can find somebody to manage it for you, then it's what we call mailbox money. And if you have a property that a tenant's paying you $1,000 a month rent, the mortgage and the expenses are $600, you're getting a positive $400 cash flow each month. How many of those could you have? As many as you can find, right? And so having that opportunity to start being in the know, you're in the industry, and start building your real estate portfolio gives you one giant step forward, because not only are you only having to put 10, 20% down, the bank is giving you the rest of the money, but you get 100% of the appreciation, you get 100% of the income, and you get 100% of the tax write-off. And so it's a pretty darn good deal, a great way to leverage. When you do that fix and flip, let's say you come out with $50,000 cash at the end of the day, that $50,000 can be leveraged into a $500,000 property. So start thinking about how you can play a bigger game.
Yep. And that's one thing that I really started thinking about when me and you started talking is, wow, I need to think bigger. It's just been the single family homes and the Airbnb. And now it's like, okay, on a bigger level, where are the apartment buildings? Where is the intellectual property that you could eventually sell? And so it's just that larger scale of thinking. But for a lot of the viewers here, they're just starting out. So obviously the long-term rentals are amazing. We love short-term rentals. Sharon has Airbnbs herself. And what are some other passive income streams that you like?
Well, certainly when you're in real estate, when you have the clients, you typically, if I ask you the question, do a lot of your buyers ask you the same questions? Yes. Do a lot of the sellers ask you the same questions? So I had a young gal that came to me several years ago, and she was top producing agent in her company, but the company was owned by her parents. So she said, I just don't get any respect. The old guys pat me on the head, and she was very frustrated. And I said, so well, let's elevate your own personal brand. And so she sat down and wrote a quick ebook on, the top 5 questions for a buyer, the top 5 questions for a seller. And she was very, very on it. She got it done within a couple of months. And about 6 months later, she called me and she said, Sharon, you won't believe me. And I said, yes, I will. Because all of a sudden she was having a regular radio spot. She'd been called on television for a couple of interviews, simply because she took what she knew and made it available in an asset that other people could access. And she says, and even better, those old guys that used to pat me on the head are now asking me for my opinion, asking me if they can share my books with their clients. And so the only thing that changed was that she understood to take what she knew and create an asset from it. And that asset elevated her personal brand. And that's what we want for each of you, to elevate your personal brand. And in the process, you've got a new economic engine. That book is an asset that can help you propel your success forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's funny because when I used to think about assets, I would just always think about properties. What can I own? But talking with you, just like you just said, with the book and the ebooks and all of this other stuff, that you can create and therefore use for your marketing, use to build your list. And so, and use to, sell more houses if that's what you're really focusing on doing. So I want to talk a little bit about your assets are sexy. You've got this movement going on. It's a tribe of women, and everyone's on a mission to become financially free. And I think that's what we all want. And a lot of us got into real estate because we felt like, hey, this is going to get us freedom. We're going to be able to take off work when we want to and show up to the kids' games and take a vacation. But it's in fact the opposite. It's very much so the opposite. You're now on call 24/7 as a real estate agent. And so let's talk about that a little bit, and how to become financially free and what does that actually look like?
Well, I think a lot of it is the choice that you make and the boundaries that you set. Certainly, as an agent, and you've got leads coming in, you need to be available whenever your clients want to see something, and it does come at the expense of other things in your life. Until you build up your reputation to the point where you can have team members join you, and they can help take care of that load for you, so that you become a team leader. But all of those things are, the investment that you make in your future. And it's when you concentrate on taking that revenue and creating it into an asset that can work when you're not around and work overnight, that front end investment seems like it's really worth it. But if you don't ever change and you're constantly living in this life of being on call 24/7, that is what we call the rat race. And so we want to get you out of the rat race into a world of assets, abundance. Because the other one is you feel like you never have enough money. And when you get some, you're afraid you're going to lose it. It's about a scarcity mindset. So we want to switch that scarcity mindset using your real estate license as a tool to start shifting into a world of assets, because you can invest in real estate in lots of different ways. You can do paper investing, you can go into mortgages, you can go into invest in REITs, all those things, or you can buy the actual properties, you can loan money, you can be a passive investor in syndications. There are a lot of ways to value and add real estate to your portfolio. There's also the business, there's businesses. And so you may have a lot of different properties, but you hire an outside management company to do that. That's a business. You may create your own management company so you can help others. And Amanda, you have programs where you're helping teach people about those, short-term rentals. That's a program, that's an asset. You're generating an income from educating others about how you've been successful in what you do. It's just a matter of saying, I can do it, and having that confidence and taking your passion and your talents, having the right people around you, taking the right action, but again, having faith and confidence in yourself. So many times in a lot of real estate agents, they don't have that self-confidence to put themselves out there. I'm not good enough. Oh my gosh, I'm not successful enough. But you have the experience, and there are other people out there who can benefit from what you know and what your experience is. And if you share it, you can make an asset.
Yep. And it comes right back down to, your mindset too, and who you surround yourself with, and who you're hiring to be your mentor or your coach, and what courses are you investing in. And so I think it all comes down to that too, because as you mentioned, with the mindset, a lot of people think they can't do it, and they really do feel like that because the people around them are telling them that they can't do it. I'm going to go buy an investment property. Well, you can't do that, and that's a situation that you need to get out of, and you need to start surrounding yourself with people who are going to say, yes, go do that, and let me show you how. Here, let me hold your hand and walk you through the process of how.
A lot of times the people that are saying that to you are your own family. And so I always tell people, take a step back and say, this isn't really them being upset with me. They see I'm actually taking action and changing my life, and they're not. And so their natural reaction is try and pull you back so that they don't feel so bad. And when you do that, you kind of put this cone of protection to know that once you become successful, they're going to want to be right next to you and learn from you. But you have to make that step and make sure you know who you're hanging out with, who's supporting you. It's that power of association, who's encouraging you to move forward. The other thing is habits, right? You sell a big house and you get this big, when you live on commission, you have to have more self-discipline than when you don't, because you don't know when that money is going to come in and out. And so when you get that big commission check, are you going to go out and buy that new wardrobe or buy that bigger car? Or are you going to use that commission check to reinvest into an income producing asset? And when that asset's giving you income, then you buy the things you want from that income. But let's start with focusing on taking that money that you're making, and understand that not every month is going to be the best month possible. So you need to make sure you've got yourself covered, but then go into a calculated program of reinvesting the monies that you're making into creating assets.
Yep. What do you say would be the first step for someone?
Well, the first step is to figure out where you are. And sometimes the picture is not very pretty, but the first step is knowing, right? And a lot of us put our head in the sands. But once you actually determine where you are, even if the picture's not pretty, you feel good because you actually have done something. And then look at your bad debt and say, okay, how can I get rid of my bad debt? And that bad debt can be a credit card. And you may have 5 credit cards, and they may be holding you back because you've got a bad credit rating because you haven't been paying on time. Start focusing on that. The smallest balance first, get rid of it. That gives you the self-confidence to keep going. Get all the amount of money that you owe on your credit cards below 30% of available credit. That's going to help get your credit rating up. So for instance, you have a $10,000 credit line. Make sure you don't owe more than $3,000 on that card and keep it below that. Now I want you to get it to 0, but the first step is to bring all those cards down under 30%, because you're going to have an immediate impact in a positive way on your credit report.
Yeah, we were just speaking earlier with someone, and we were talking about right now is the perfect time to pull a HELOC on your personal house. If you're sitting on a few $100,000 of equity right now, you could go and pull a home equity line of credit. We call it a HELOC. And this is money that literally will sit, and you don't have to pay anything on it unless you use it. But you can literally have that as a cushion so that if a great deal does come along, or something that you're going to need the money to purchase an asset, not a new car or a new boat, but something that's going to actually pay you, you're going to have access to those funds.
And you
And
need
so,
that. You need that pre-approval, or you need that access to funds, because in today's market, things are going right away. So you need to be able to position yourself to be able to take action quickly. I have a line of credit in Florida at one of the banks I have money in, and they just have my interest rate is 1.9%. I go, oh my gosh! I told Michael, we got to buy something. We got to invest this money. So you just historic lows in interest rate, but make sure you do it with brilliance, because high emotion is low intelligence. So we need you to go out there and do your due diligence, get the right people on your team to make sure you're making an investment that is a wise one for you into the future.
yeah, I mean, even if you're able to borrow money at 2%, turn around and rent it for 12, or private loan it out for 12%, you're 10% in the profit.
Yep.
So yeah, for sure. So Sharon, you are working on a new book right now called Exit Rich, correct?
I am. I'm very excited. It's coming out January 26th. It's being published by Inc. magazine. So I'm very excited about that. It's about how to build value in your company and take your successful company, make it sustainable, scalable, and saleable. But it also talks about the fundamental issues of building a strong business. So it does, even if you just want to keep it in your family for generations, when you build a house, you go down first. You got to have a strong foundation. So this is talking about building that strong foundation. Steve Forbes says, this is a gold mine for entrepreneurs. I'm very excited about it, but we're offering really kind of an exciting thing. My husband and I own a ranch, a guest ranch in Arizona. cherrycreeklodge.com. Anybody that pre-orders the book for me at exitrichbook.com/buy is going to be entered into a contest, and we're going to be giving away 3 days, 2 nights at the ranch for someone, because we just want to make sure we get the word out there and get as many people with this information, because I co-authored with Michelle Seller Tucker, and she's the top female business broker in the country, and we're one of the top mergers and acquisition specialists. So she goes in through the tactics of what you do, and then I come in from a mentor and investor perspective with a strategy on building a strong, sustainable business. It was a lot of fun, tremendous amount of value and content in the book for people that own businesses, want to own a business, or want to buy a business. Great roadmap if you're looking at investing in a business, to use this as a tool to look through what the company looks like and if it checks all the boxes. So I'm very excited about it. So yeah, exitrichbook.com/buy if you want to have an opportunity to win a weekend at the ranch.
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to do that. I want to read that book, because I know that me and you have been working together on our business, because we have a short-term rental, midterm rental business. And even if you already have a business and maybe you didn't set everything up quite correctly, Sharon is really good at going in there and making sure you do set it up correctly so that it can be sellable in the future. So that's amazing. And you did mention the ranch. I want to talk about that just a little bit, because that's one thing that really stuck out to me when we were at dinner in Nashville, is you were talking about your ranch, and you were talking about how you've got so many different income streams coming from that ranch, and you've made it into this huge asset. So do you want to talk about that just for a few minutes?
Certainly, yes. Mike and I have been married for 40 years. And when we got married, he told me he wanted a survival property. Well, about 16 years ago, we started looking, and we were looking for like 10 acres somewhere where he could go pitch a tent and shoot his guns, and nobody would bother him. But we found this ranch, and it was a whole lot bigger than we were looking for. It's at 300 acres plus 40,000 acres of grazing rights in Arizona, in the middle of the Tonto National Forest. We fell in love with it. It's a huge piece of American history. There was a major feud and a battle there, and we bought it the same day we saw it, and love it to death. But we said, okay, this is a lot bigger than what we expected, so we have to turn it into an asset. And so when people see pictures of our cows, we have 400 head of Black Angus cattle, And I say, you see cows, I see assets. Those little mamas give me babies every year that we sell. And then we also built a beautiful guest lodge that people can come just for rent a room for a night, for a week, have family reunions. I have business retreats there. We have companies that come and have their board meetings. So it's a little piece of heaven. You can go horseback riding, you can go shooting, you can go fishing. It's in the middle of the Tonto National Forest, as I said, and it is totally off the grid. It's all solar power, our own well water, and we have satellite Wi-Fi to keep in contact with the outside world. But other than that, it's a little piece of heaven. It's called cherrycreeklodge.com, and welcome everybody to look at it.
That's awesome. Well, I can't wait to see it. So in closing here, we have a few more minutes left, but I would just want to speak into the realtors here today. And I mean, you do come with so much knowledge and wealth of knowledge. What is it that you would tell these people who maybe have not been, exposed to all of these amazing books and personal development and classes and everything that we've been through? What would you say to them as a I don't know, a stepping stone, some inspiration, something just to kind of give them a little courage to be able to move forward with this?
Well, don't try to do it alone. I mean, too many of us were taught in school to do everything on our own. And so the number one thing is find a mentor, find somebody that can help you. You can reach out to us at info@sharonlechter.com. We have special programs that can help you, but also find a mentor, work with Amanda, get the education and the mentorship that you need. The other people have been where you are. And all of us have had things that stopped us in our tracks, whether it be a death or an illness or a financial setback, but you're still here for a reason. And what you've learned already so much that can help others coming up behind you. Now's the time to take control of your own future. You are the CEO of your own life. And if you don't take control of your life, who will? And so look at your income stream, make sure that when you have a wonderful sale that you don't spend it all right away, that you keep it and you balance it and you start looking for ways to invest in real estate. And if you don't have enough to buy a property on your own, start investing in other syndications where you can. So it's very important to make that first investment and make it small, so that if you make a mistake, it's not going to be the end of the world. But get the people around you to support you. Get that support team that can look over the deal with you and validate that, yes, you're going in the right direction, because people love to help each other. And so start finding that circle of folks that will support you and encourage you. And you know what? Kick you in the when you need it. So it's important.
And they are out there. There's definitely people. You just have to attract those people into your lives. And that's something else, that we talk about a lot is your mindset and how to put that energy out there where you're going to be attracting those types of people into your life, because that's where Think and Grow Rich comes in, right?
Well, I love that you talked about it at the beginning, because I read Think and Grow Rich every single year. I read it when I was 19 the first time. And I tell people it's not that the book changes, but I change. And so you want to continue looking for those resources that are going to support you to take the next step, to play that bigger game. I have a Facebook book called The Play Big Movement. And so it's a free to join. Again, it's to help people have that bigger mindset, that bigger thought process. How can I play a bigger game and therefore get higher and better results? But not to do it alone, to make sure you surround yourself with the right people.
Yep, absolutely. Fantastic, Sharon. Well, is there a particular way to, you've dropped a lot of like golden nuggets here today. They can go and they can pre-order your book, Exit Rich, which is going to be an amazing book. And that's the great deal. I mean, if you just pre-order a book, you have the opportunity to win a weekend at your lodge. Like, hello, who wouldn't do that?
Well, we wanted to just make it as fun as possible, but also understand that there's tremendous amount of value in the book. And so we want to support people doing that. As many copies as you buy, you get that many chances to win. So it's an opportunity to share the wealth and share the information with other people in your network. But visit me at sharonlechter.com. I've got lots of information there. I'm, of course, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, invite everybody to connect with me. And I actually challenge you to, because a lot of times people want to connect and they just don't take that action. So if you hear nothing else, take an action today for yourself to move yourself forward. Do something that you will feel proud of yourself when you look in the mirror tonight.
I love that. Thank you so much for your time today, Sharon. I really appreciate you spending some time with us. And I know that the whole audience appreciates it as well. And I know that I took away some ahas and some tidbits from you today, and I'm sure they did too. So again, thank you so much for your time today. And we're going to introduce our next speaker here.